In the bustling city of Lagos, where the streets never sleep and the horns of Danfo buses and Okada riders fill the air, there lived a girl named Amara. She was only 15, yet life had already pushed her into the hardest corners. Her father had died when she was just 10, leaving behind a mother who struggled with sickness until she too passed away, leaving Amara alone. She had no relatives who would take her in, no extended family willing to share even a mat on their floor. The streets of Ojuelegbe became her shelter, the concrete her bed, the sky her ceiling. Some nights when it rained, she would curl under a broken kiosk, pressing her school bag to her chest as if it could shield her from the world. But Amara was not ordinary. Even in hunger, even in torn clothes and slippers that had long lost their pairs, she carried a mind sharp as glass. She loved books. Somehow she had clung to the few textbooks she once used in junior secondary school. Mathematics, English, and an old storybook of Chinua Achebe's tales were her greatest treasures. By day she begged for coins at Ojuelegbe Bridge, dodging insults from drivers and market women. By night, under the dim light of street lamps, she would read aloud to herself, practicing English, reciting multiplication tables, solving sums on scraps of paper she found in the dustbin. People would look at her and wonder why a girl with no home, no food, no hope would still cling to education like it was bread. Across town in Ikoyi, life moved in another rhythm. Here the streets were quieter, guarded gates lined the roads, and houses stood like palaces. In one of these mansions lived Chief Ajuel, a billionaire businessman whose name was known from Abuja to Port Harcourt. He owned oil companies, real estate, and luxury hotels. His home was a fortress of glass and marble, with fountains at the gate and chandeliers in the hall. He had only one daughter, Teniola, a girl of 12 who had never known hunger, never known the harshness of street life. She had chauffeurs to take her to school, maids to cook her meals, and a private tutor who came every evening. But even with all these, Teniola had a problem. She was brilliant in arts, painting and music came to her easily, but mathematics was her weakness. Numbers frightened her, and no matter how much her private tutor tried, she simply could not grasp it. Her father was worried, because in his eyes, excellence was not optional, it was mandatory. One Saturday afternoon, fate tied their worlds together. Teniola's driver had parked the black SUV near Ojuelegbe Market while buying suya. Teniola sat in the car, bored, watching people move. That was when her eyes caught Amara, seated on the floor near a kiosk, scribbling furiously on a piece of carton. Out of curiosity, Teniola stepped down from the SUV. She walked closer, ignoring the warning of the bodyguard who trailed her. She leaned over and saw Amara solving long division, her lips moving as she wrote. "Excuse me," Teniola said softly. Amara looked up, startled. She wasn't used to children in fine clothes speaking to her kindly. Her eyes darted to the guard, then back to the girl. "What are you doing?" Teniola asked. Amara hesitated, then whispered, "Homework." I just like to practice." "Homework? But you don't go to school," Teniola said innocently. Amara's face fell, but she nodded. "I used to. Before my parents died, but I still remember some things. I teach myself so I won't forget." Something in Teniola's chest tightened. She looked at the carton again, and saw how neatly Amara had solved the sums. She asked, "Can you teach me? I don't understand maths. My tutor shouts too much." Amara blinked. The thought that a billionaire's daughter would ask her, a homeless girl, for lessons seemed impossible, but Teniola's eyes were sincere. Slowly, Amara nodded. She picked up another piece of carton, and began to explain the long division in the simplest way, using sticks she drew on the ground to illustrate. Hola's face lit up with understanding. For the first time, the numbers made sense. She laughed with joy. "You're so good at this," she said. That day was the beginning of a secret friendship. Every week, whenever the driver stopped at Ojuelegbe, Teniola would slip away to meet Amara. Under the noisy bridge, by the kiosks, the billionaire's daughter would sit on the ground beside the homeless girl, learning mathematics and English, sometimes even listening to Amara read Achebe's proverbs aloud. The friendship grew like a seed hidden in the soil. Teniola brought Amara biscuits, pure water, and sometimes pens. Allahs, in return, gave her patience, wisdom, and a kind of teaching no tutor had ever given her. But secrets cannot remain hidden forever. One evening, Chief Edewale himself discovered them. He had come unexpectedly to the market, inspecting one of his new building projects nearby, when he saw his daughter sitting on bare ground with a ragged girl. His heart nearly stopped. Guards rushed to pull Teniola away, but she clung to Amara's hand, crying, "Daddy, no, she's my teacher, she's my friend." The crowd of market people gathered quickly, whispering, some pointing fingers. Chief Edewale's face burned with anger and embarrassment. A billionaire's daughter, learning from a homeless child. It sounded like an insult to his name. He shouted at the guards to take Teniola to the car. But that night, as he sat in his mansion, the memory of his daughter's words haunted him. "She's my teacher, she's my friend." The next day, instead of ignoring it, Chief Edewale ordered his men to find the girl. When they brought Amara to his mansion, she trembled in fear, thinking she would be punished. But something unexpected happened. Teniola rushed forward, hugging her, begging her father not to chase her away. Chief Edewale looked at Amara properly for the first time, her bright eyes, her intelligence shining even through poverty. He asked her questions in mathematics, in English, and her answers stunned him. For the first time in many years, Chief Edewale felt something stir in his heart. He realized education was not about wealth, but about determination. He realized that brilliance could live under a bridge, just as much as in a mansion, and in front of his daughter, his staff, and the girl who had nothing, he made a decision that shocked everyone. Chief Edewale sat back in his golden armchair, studying Amara's face. The girl's torn blue dress and bare feet looked out of place against the polished marble floor and glittering chandeliers, but her voice carried strength that could not be hidden. She had explained a mathematics problem better than any of his daughter's expensive tutors had ever managed. He asked her to read a passage from an English textbook. She read with fluency, her accent touched with the rhythm of the streets, but her confidence as steady as a scholar. He could not hide his surprise. His staff whispered among themselves, glancing from the ragged girl to their master. Teniola clung to Amara's arm, smiling through tears. "Daddy, you see? She's amazing. I want to learn from her. Please don't chase her away." For a long moment, Chief Edewale said nothing. His pride warred with the truth standing before him. He had spent millions on tutors, yet this girl who owned nothing had given his daughter understanding. Finally, he rose slowly to his feet. His deep voice filled the room. "Amara, from today you will not sleep under any bridge again. From today you will have a home here. You will go to school again, and I will make sure the whole world knows what you carry inside you." The staff gasped. Amara's knees gave way, and she fell to the floor, tears rolling down her face. "Sir, I don't deserve this," she whispered. But Chief Edewale shook his head. "You deserve more than this. Your parents may be gone, but from today you are not alone." The news spread quickly. People in the neighborhood whispered that Chief Edewale, the untouchable billionaire, had taken in a homeless girl from Ojuelegba. Some mocked him, calling it a scandal. Others praised him, saying God had touched his heart. Journalists wanted to know more, but the chief ignored them all. His focus was on Amara and his daughter. He hired the best teachers, but he also allowed Amara to continue guiding Teniola in her own way. The two girls became inseparable. They studied side by side at a private school, Amara now wearing a clean uniform, her hair neatly plaited, her books new and shining. At first, some students mocked Amara when they heard where she had come from. "Street girl," they whispered, laughing, but Amara's brilliance silenced them. She scored highest in every subject, often beating even the children of ministers and governors. Teachers praised her, and slowly the laughter turned into respect. Teniola beamed with pride, always introducing her as my best teacher, my best friend. Months turned into years. Amara grew, her confidence blossoming. She never forgot the nights under the bridge, but she carried them in her heart as fuel, not shame. Chief Edewale began to see her not just as his daughter's friend, but as his own child. He sponsored her education fully, sending her to competitions, introducing her to leaders, giving her opportunities she had never imagined. And each time he looked at her, he remembered the day he almost pulled his daughter away, the day he almost missed the treasure God had placed before him. One evening, years later, Chief Aduel stood before a gathering of business leaders, government officials and educators, at a large conference in Abuja. Beside him stood Amara, now a confident young woman in her late teens, dressed smartly in her school blazer. The audience waited. Chief Aduel adjusted the microphone and spoke. Many of you know me as a businessman, as a billionaire, but today I want to tell you what true wealth is. True wealth is not measured by the cars we drive or the mansions we own. True wealth is found in people, in the brilliance we often overlook. Years ago, my daughter was taught not by a professor, not by a hired tutor, but by a homeless girl sitting on the streets of Ojuelegba. That girl is Amara. Today she stands here as proof that greatness can rise from anywhere, if only we give it a chance. The hall erupted in applause. Amara's eyes filled with tears, but she held her chin high, her voice steady as she spoke. I was once invisible. I was once a child people passed by on the street, believing I had no future. But today I stand here because someone saw me, and I want to tell every child out there, whether you are rich or poor, never give up on your mind, never give up on your dreams, because knowledge can lift you higher than gold. Her words echoed across the hall. That night newspapers carried her story. Social media exploded with posts about the homeless girl who became a star. Scholarships poured in from universities abroad. NGOs called her an inspiration. But for Amara the greatest gift was not fame, it was the family she had found. Chief Aduel had adopted her as his second daughter. Teniola introduced her everywhere as her sister. In the grand mansion where she once trembled with fear, she now walked freely, her laughter mingling with Teniola's. At the dinner table, she sat not as a stranger but as a child of the house. Years later, when Amara graduated top of her class and won admission to study engineering abroad, the entire household celebrated. Chief Aduel cried openly, something no one had ever seen him do. Your parents would be proud, he said softly, placing his hand on her. You have honored them, and you have honored us all. That night, as Amara sat with Teniola in their shared room, she whispered, do you remember the first day you spoke to me under the bridge? Teniola laughed. Yes, you looked so scared, but I knew from the start you were special, and I knew you were different, Amara replied, smiling. You didn't see my rags. You saw me. The two girls hugged, their bond stronger than blood, their story a reminder to all who heard it, that destiny does not ask where you sleep at night, but what you carry in your heart. And so, the homeless girl who once scribbled on cartons under a street lamp, became not only a teacher to a billionaire's daughter, but a symbol to an entire nation. Her story was told in schools, in churches, in market. People whispered it as a lesson to their children, that kindness can change lives, that brilliance knows no class, that hope can rise from the dust of the streets, to the heights of the sky. As for Chief Aduel, he often stood by his window at night, looking out over Lagos, remembering the day he found Amara. He no longer thought of it as shame, he thought of it as the day God gave him another daughter, the day his wealth gained true meaning. And if you ever pass through Ojuelegba Bridge at night, you may still find children huddled under kiosks, clutching old books. And maybe, just maybe, one of them will be the next Amara, waiting for someone to see her, to believe in her, to give her the chance to shine. So if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about what inspired you the most.